Don't be a sneering tosser. The reaction to the Southport attack has been, it's been very interesting to say the least. While I don't think rioting is going to get us anywhere productive, I mean, let's be real, when is it ever going to do anything other than make the situation worse? I do have one thing to say to the upper classes of the right wing, such as these two gentlemen on the left here, which is to shut the fuck up. I've seen many takes coming out over the past few hours, especially from these two, of a kind of I told you so mentality, and it's absolutely infuriating. They've basically been shaming the rioters for being idiots, as if the working class Brits haven't already been beaten down enough. See my Britain as a shithole video for how beaten down the working class actually are in this country and why they don't need grief from these cunts, especially someone who's an expatriate who doesn't even live in the country anymore. I think we're starting to see good old English classism coming out here. I mean, both Academic Agent and Nigel Watson here, they're both from the upper classes of England as far as I can tell. I don't really know the background of Academic Agent, where he came from. But I do know Nigel is from the middle to upper middle class areas of the country, and it really does kind of show, to be honest. When you come from a more working class area of the country, you have a lot more sympathy for the plight of these people and why they are rioting. Whereas if you come from the upper classes or the upper middle classes of this country, then you're just going to see them as idiots, whether you're on the right wing or the left wing, because it's pretty much ingrained into the culture of the upper classes at this point to sneer down at the working class. On the left side of the political aisle, the shaming is to be expected, really. We knew this was going to happen. We knew the left were going to, start cheering and whooping like that scene from The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe in Narnia, where they have Aslan on the table and they all start howling like wild dogs. We knew the left that were going to react that way. But something that has been unpleasant to see, really, from my perspective, has been the sneering from the right wing as well, which is really not helpful. I mean, even if you think these people are idiots for doing it, I might have some sympathy for that belief, to be honest. It's a very uncoordinated game strategy that the working class are playing right now. However, sneering at them is not going to do anything but make the situation 10 times worse. I mean, you guys who are sneering like to play the card, oh, well, you're playing into their hands right now. Well, you guys are playing into their hands right now as well, because you guys are fanning the flames. I mean, if the working class see you guys making these kind of arguments and sneering down at the working class, all you're going to do is make them even more angry. So you're making the situation 10 times worse. Thanks for nothing. I think a little bit of empathy here could go a long way. Think about what it must be actually like to be a white working class man right now, and then maybe you'll stop being a sneering tosser towards them. Yes, as I've explained before in this video, the rioting is not how to go about this, and no, I won't be involving myself in any of these riots because they are dumb, like these upper class people rightly identify. They're unproductive and they lack any kind of war strategy, so they're not going to get anywhere. They're just going to enforce more of a police state, meaning they will lose. However, being an I told you so middle-class sneering tosser is not going to help anyone. I think someone who's come out with a really good take on this recently is Morgoth's Review, and surprise, surprise, Morgoth, like me, is from the north of England as well. So Morgoth has that deep understanding of what it's like to be a working class person, whereas I do have to wonder if the two people on the left here understand what it's like at all. I mean, for Christ's sake, the sneering tossers have pissed me off, and I'm not even involved in this. So imagine how much it fans the flames further to have people the white British thought had their back now turn around and sneer at them for daring to be uncouth in this situation. When, let's be quite frank, any other population around the world would have descended into this about 10 years ago. So the fact that the working class white Brits have held off for this long should be a tremendous honour of respect for these people, for how kind and willing to put up with bullshit they are. Because you upper middle class intellectuals know just as much as I do that anyone else from anywhere else in the world would have rioted years ago over this. To navigate your way through this right-wing crisis that we're currently going through at the moment, all you have to do, it's very simple, show a little bit of empathy for everyone involved, and don't be afraid to point out evil when you see it. The two guys on the left here aren't evil. Academic Agent and Nigel are both very decent people. I know Nigel has got Christian values and Academic Agent is very well read on a lot of subjects. So they're not evil at all. I think they're just misguided in this. But when it comes to the working classes and anyone else really, don't be afraid to point out evil when you see it. You're not a bad person for doing what you're doing. You are literally just lashing out at the system because the system has effectively raped you about 5 times, spat on you and stabbed you in the back. It's a perfectly ordinary, expected response to want to lash out to that. And remember, everything you do will be judged in the afterlife. This is getting a little bit religious now, but it is true. What you do in this life will be judged in the afterlife. And funnily enough, it won't be judged by God. It'll be judged by you. You only judge yourself. So be a good person for your own sake. That means don't get involved in violence, but it also means, for God's sake, don't be a sneering tosser.